Animal spirits have helped navigate relationships between myself and sides of my family of distant relatives. Um, and of course, what I mean by animal spirits is the state of the spiritual being of an animal. So, although actual ancestral healing is an area I don't really teach, but working with animal spirits in other shamanic or animistic ways is very healing. And this is an area I do have some experience in. But I wanted to tell you about how this happened. For example, I mentioned one of the sides of my genetic family of origin is still a bit difficult for me to deal with. When I say that, I mean like um, just certain issues and things like that. Not really, actual people, but however, after receiving ancestral healing from various practitioners, including I wanted to mention Marissa Lovett at Celestial Tree, and she's also my co-founder of our Shamanic Earth Medicine Patreon. But after I received some healing, I was able to begin a healing process on a spiritual level that was absolutely unheard of prior to this time due to trauma. But it really, I think one of the biggest areas that it really helped with was how the animal spirits fit into this. Is that in addition to a few frequently interacting with animal spirits, which are outside of my genetics. So when I say that, I mean like they were animal spirits and are animal spirits that I engage with from either the land I live on, which I'm not from originally. I'm an immigrant here, as many people in the United States are immigrants to this country. But I engage with animal spirits from the land here and also from other areas on on the earth. But in addition to those frequently interacting with animal spirits, all of a sudden a few key animal spirits from my own genetic background, from my own ancestral um, past, uh, all of a sudden they were knocking at my door, so to speak. Um, I've even gotten comfortable with, in real life, in waking life, leaving offerings to this particular animal spirit, or in some cases, sometimes I have one or two that have kind of shown up from my genetic background. And I'll leave some offerings to this and the other animal spirit associated with my genetics. Um, I think this is a step in a healing direction. Maybe it doesn't solve every issue in this area of the family that I have with that side, or in some cases it's on both sides of the family. But any kind of offering I can do in real life or veneration, um, I can do to actively participate in some kind of spiritual relationship with the animal spirit ancestor is sure to affect some kind of healing in some way, shape, or form. If you think about that image that many people have heard about or seen or read about, that the pebble in the stream creating ripples that flows out. If you one action creates a ripple effect. And I think that's true in this case when you think about if you do one thing that's on a spiritual level where you're maintaining some kind of relationship with an animal spirit. I think it has a ripple effect in other areas that's very positive. Um, Plus, an animal spirit from one's ancestors. This can also happen from outside of your ancestors. But for what we're talking about right now, an animal spirit from one's ancestors is especially helpful for protection as well as guidance. So, with that in mind, I had had a few leaps in healing in regards to animal spirits, especially in the area of protection. And that's where I wanted to talk about something that I thought was kind of conflicting. And I was listening to a very respected practitioner who I still respect this person. Um, but I was a little disappointed in them when they mentioned that there was no need for protection when practicing their particular tradition that they were talking about. Then in the following lecture, the next chapter over, the same person described some shamanic tools that they form relationships with, and the advantages of having these tools is for grounding, especially while, and I put this in quotes, traveling through, different levels of shamanic consciousness. So this, I thought this was pretty contradictory in terms of messaging, um, but that's because I consider grounding, it's not the same as protection, but it's certainly something that you can do to, on your way to being protected. So that experience where I was listening to that and going, huh, it made me wonder if throughout the world, including myself, if there's confusion about what various people mean by the word protection. What do we really mean by that? And that's a pretty huge subject to tackle. But one way to ensure protection in most traditions, and this is from what I've observed and read and participated in myself, is to engage with an animal spirit as a protector. And this is important because when you deal with different worlds, so for our purposes, we've been talking about, I've mentioned the upper world or the middle world or the lower world, and it may be different in, different areas. Maybe you're listening to this and thinking, well, that's not exactly how I operate. That's okay. There's so many different ways of perceiving consciousness, but either way, at some point you're shifting consciousness into another state, right? So while you're shamanic journeying or doing other kinds of shamanic work, the animal spirit is there to guide you and protect you from any hitchhiker energies, anything that can kind of um, get in your way or do worse. This isn't just for people who practice shamanism. This is also for anybody who is empathic, or maybe you deal in some kind of psychic services, where you're very familiar with coming across some kind of unseen but yet unwanted foreign or hitchhiker energies that they're not visible, to the naked eye in the quote unquote real world, but they are very real and do affect one's body, mind, and spirit. Therefore, even if you're venturing into a field such as like mediumship or psychic services of some sort, or maybe even not even doing that, maybe you're just somebody who's very, very empathic and you're just trying to manage your life. um, it I'm going to throw this out there that it's very advisable to have an animal spirit relationship in place. I think it's extremely important if you're going to actually do actual shamanic work, of course. But I think it's also pretty important if you're going to do some kind of psychic service of some sort. So I'm here to help you get to know your animal spirit family, which is a class that I'm going to be offering very soon. And this will include a guided shamanic journey to meet your personal animal spirit so you can experience what this feels like for you. And in addition to that, you'll get a 20 plus page PDF booklet with journal prompts, some frequently asked questions, as well as a complete written form of the class. And you'll also be able to ask me questions, as there will be a dedicated Facebook group. The details are forthcoming in terms of like time and date and everything, but I encourage you to sign up. I'll post the link in the description here. And also want to mention, I have a Patreon with Marissa Lovick called Shamanic Earth Medicine, and we've been in operation for at least 3 years. And we teach about a lot of different animistic and shamanistic topics. Some of them are about shamanic journeying, some of them are about heathenry, sacred tobacco, plant spirit wisdom, and weather working as well, among other things. And if you'd like to join us at the Patreon, you can join for as little as $1 per month, which will get you at least one video per month, or sometimes 2 videos per month. The $5 per month level is you get to participate in a monthly ceremony through Zoom with either one of us. We alternate. The most recent ceremony, Marissa did a ceremony for Pachamama Day, also known as Lammas if you practice paganism of some sort, and that was on August 1st, and that was absolutely gorgeous. And then I'll do a candle blessing ceremony in September, so that'll be our next ceremony, and that's for $5 a month. And then for $15 per month, you get pretty much everything everything I mentioned beforehand, as well as you get an intuitive reading where we ask our helping spirits a question on your behalf. Plus, you get additional access to additional classes, free access to classes, as well as other benefits. So I'll put in the description the details for how to sign up for the animal spirit class. And I'll also have my YouTube channel down there if you'd like to check out some of my free videos. Also, my Linktree has a lot of free stuff on it too, as well as like finding out what your animal spirit archetype is. That's a quiz I have on there that might be of interest if you're interested in finding out if you identify as an animal or plant spirit archetype. And until next time, I wish you well and blessings.